Hello, my name is Matthew, and we are on shelf 24 of my tiny house library tour. And if you're interested in any of the books that I'm going to show, please send me an email. We can work something out. You'll be supporting my plans to visit Spain. I also have a GoFundMe link if that interests you at all, but let's start looking at the books. And I have to move something. This is my coconut head. And one of those little, I won't hit it, but one of those little bells. Okay. And we have two big Soviet Russian books to look at. I'll pull out this one too. Okay. So this is Life and Fate by Vasily Grossman. This is translated by Robert Chandler. And then Stalingrad, translated by Robert Chandler and Elizabeth Chandler. And Stalingrad is the prequel, from what I understand, to Life and Fate. I've read Life and Fate, and it is magnificent. Just an incredibly powerful, rich, all-consuming novel. And this is a really top priority. I do want to read it. I'm just waiting for the mood to strike. I know I keep saying how there's all these books that I want to read, but this is a high priority. Stalingrad. Okay. Serotonin by Michelle Welbeck. I really do love that cover. And I think this is his most recent book. I liked it. I'm starting to get a little worn down with that Welbeck's certain brand of pessimism, but it was okay. Let's see. All right. The Essential Epicurus. And Epicurus is a name that comes up just as a school of thought in philosophy, the Epicureans. And this is rather forgettable or just very slight. Didn't do anything for me. I don't know if there's a better volume or a more representative collection of Epicurean writing by Epicurus, but this was insignificant. Another great collection of short stories by Dostoevsky. This is The Eternal Husband and Other Stories. Also translated by Richard Pever and Bolonkonski. These are two books that I got from my dad, and he read them and gave them back to me. I still haven't read them, even though it's really right up my alley. This is Memoirs of Hadrian by Margaret Urnesar. I'm not sure how to say that. And then Cicero by Anthony Everett. My dad liked them. I just haven't read them yet. Let me know if you've read them, if you think they're good reads. Okay, this is The Complete Cosmicomics by Calvino. I think he has a couple of those slim little works of different collected tales of these strange eternal episodes that happen throughout all of time and space. But this is just a one volume collection of all those stories. I think they're fun. They're just great bedtime stories. This is another gift. I never did read it. It's After Alice by Gregory Maguire. And somebody just said that they thought that I would just love it, and maybe I would. Never felt too compelled to pick it up, but another one. Maybe it's worth reading. The Old Man of the Sea, Hemingway's short novel or novella. Mercier and Camier by Samuel Beckett. And I love this story. It's super slim, and it's almost like a novelized version of Waiting for Godot. So instead of Vladimir and Estragon waiting for Godot, in this book we have these two oddball characters, Mercier and Camier, and instead of waiting, they are traveling and they're going somewhere with an expectation. So it's sort of like the same plot structure but inversed, if that makes any sense. And it's great. I like it. It's that black comedy or tragicomedy. Letters to a Young Contrarian by Christopher Hitchens. And it's a fun read. I don't think I'd ever read it again. I remember not taking it very seriously. The poor guy just wanted to be, I guess, what Jordan Peterson ended up being. Uh, it's, I don't know. Maybe a few morsels of wisdom, but another gift. This is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Another friend thought that I would love this book, and I read maybe half of it, something like that, to two-thirds or half of the book, and it really reminded me of like a Netflix series or a television show, actually in the writing style, as if it was written with the intention of becoming a series. Maybe it did, but I just got exhausted with it, and I lost interest. Another one of those facsimile editions by W.B. Yeats, and this is, what is it? The Winding Stair. Can't go wrong with Yeats, and it's just fabulous. This is a, you can see, well weathered. I've carried this thing around with me for quite a while. Blood and the Moon, and I think this has another. Well, yeah, you just can't go wrong with Yeats. So, Letters to a Young Contrarian is sort of modeled after Rainier Maria Rilke, Letters to a Young Poet. A beautiful, what is it? Modern Library edition. And this is quite good. It does have all the trappings of potential uh, narcissism and selfishness and self-indulgence and all of those things, but it does have really good advice if used correctly. So, Letters to a Young Poet by Rilke. Again, Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Nietzsche, and I think I've showed this book at least once before, maybe twice before, and this is my favorite format. It just really looks the part. We're about 3 feet in the air right now. Richard Yates, The Revolutionary Road by Richard Yates. This is a fabulous novel. There was recently a movie. I think DiCaprio was in it. I haven't seen it, but I don't know. I remember this just being perfect. A perfect novel. It's set, I believe, in the 50s, or that version of the 50s. The characters are drinking highballs and having big balls of whiskey in their belly, and It's tragic and funny and ironic. The characters are great. The story is compelling. There's tragedy. Um, it's just a perfect novel. I really uh, love everything I've read by Richard Yates. White Noise by Don DeLillo. Of the few things that I've read, this has been my favorite. There's a great comic scene with the protagonist um, in a mall and is getting swept up in the drunken frenzy of consumerism. He's on a shopping spree, and there's this great line about um, the more that the more that you spend, the less value you put on money, or something like that. And it's a suitable length. Okay. Broom of the System by David Foster Wallace. I think that this is the second thing I read by him. Um, and I don't have much good to say. Uh, I don't know. I think this is the first novel that he published. Um, Daphne. Daphne. Anyway. Okay, this is a write up by Sartre on Baudelaire. And uh, you can imagine, I wish this was terrific. Um, and instead, I just felt like it was so academic or snobby or wooden or something like that. I feel like it doesn't take much for me to be interested in Baudelaire, and this book tried its best to bore me to tears. It's a great cover, though, that illustration. Okay. Down and Out in Paris and London. One of my favorite Orwell books. There's a long list of favorites, but Down and Out in Paris and London, superb. And then coming up for air by Orwell as well. Okay. Well, I'll show you this. This is my deer stalker hat. Look at this. I can't believe that these haven't um, stayed in fashion. It's utilitarian. It has the bill on the front and the back. You can put the flaps down. It's from Sherlock Holmes. Keeps your head warm. Looks great. We have, okay, Short Prose by Samuel Beckett. I haven't read it cover to cover, but I do love spending time with Beckett. I bought this last year. It's More Stories by Donald Bartholomew, and I love his short stories. I've only read a few in this collection, but I'm glad I have it anyway. The Literary Essays of Ezra Pound. Um, I really do find his nonfiction to be so different from any of his creative works, his fictional, his poetry, and all that. It's a totally different style. Um, he does seem to recognize that there's a reader on the other end that has to be able to understand the things that he's saying. And I don't know. I really do enjoy this collection. Again, haven't read it cover to cover, but yeah, eccentric and interesting. I like it. I bought this just because it's pretty and it's a author that I love, and this is the Penguin Drop Caps edition, Swan's Way. Dust on it. And is this okay? Yeah, it's the Lydia Davis translation. I don't know how I feel about the format, but it's that kind of plasticky, hardbound. It's almost cartoonish. I haven't read this yet. I've only read one work by Dasa Durdnick. Um, but Eeg, I guess let me know if anyone's read it. It says blisteringly beautiful. Okay. We have two works of Rimbaud. We have A Season in Hell and Illuminations. And I remember just being like wonderstruck by Rimbaud the first time. It was like Baudelaire having a cousin or something. And I haven't gone back to these in a long time. They are, at least in translation, they look a lot like those poems and prose that you would find in Paris Spleen by Baudelaire. Um, I don't feel like Rimbaud um, has the same legs as Baudelaire, so um, Baudelaire has constantly been a rewarding return on investment. I go back to him um, periodically and always enjoy myself and find new and interesting things to think about. Um, these, when I go back to them more and more, I feel like I'm reading something beautiful and beautifully adolescent. Great Gatsby by Fitzgerald. The Order of the Day by Eric Voulard. And this won the 2017 Prix Goncourt. And it's, I guess I would say, a historical novel. I believe it only takes place over the course of a day or a few days. It has a really short time span. And I loved it. I thought it was great. There's one scene in particular. It's Hitler and somebody else having this like really heated argument, and I just think it works. I actually don't remember much about it, but I do remember enjoying it. The Jefferson Bible, just a really great, um, great um, piece, great volume. Um, and it's the Bible that Jefferson stitched together, cut and pasted all the parts that he liked, got rid of the Old Testament, got rid of all the miracles, and made his own Bible. Um, so yeah. And oh, okay. Happy Days. Look at that. By Samuel Beckett. High Rise by J.G. Ballard. And I picked this up because I read somewhere I read that Will Self was a big fan of J.G. Ballard. And yeah, and there was a movie that came out. Um, and it just didn't do it for me. I, I read it and I really don't even remember other than the overall premise. It's that really cheap allegory that the rich people are on top, the poor people are at the bottom. So there's all this symbolism, but it didn't do anything for me. I haven't felt compelled to read anything else by Ballard. That could change, but The Adolescent by Dostoevsky. For some reason, I feel like this is the least talked about um, of Dostoevsky's handful of great novels. From what I understand, he wrote this right before the Karamazov brothers, and it's really good. Dostoevsky wrote good novels. This is they're all, yeah, it's the Peter Volonkonsky translation. I think I just showed this a different copy, How It Is by Samuel Beckett. I have I have two copies of this. This is like the newer design. And Beckett's crowning achievement, his magnum opus, one of the best modernist, the best modernist. It's not a novel; it's a trilogy. But Malone Dies, and The Unnamable, absolutely superb. When I think of all those modernists' works, Ulysses or whatever, um, I would read this over Ulysses every day of the week. Um, and I think that's it. Yeah, I'd have a hard time talking about this in 2 minutes. So that's, what did I say, 23, 23, 24? I'll have to check. But let me know if you're interested in any of the books. Let me know what you think about the books. Let me know what you think about my opinions on the books. Let me know what you think about the deer stalker coming back into fashion. I think it should. And that's it. We have one more up here. I don't know how I'm going to get up there. I'll see what happens tomorrow. So leave a comment if you would like. Thank you for watching, and take care.